So I've just managed to run my central heating, my TV and my internet with one of these Dewalt 18-volt batteries. Let's take a look at how. Yes, so welcome back to the Dadskillz how-to and review channel. And like I say, yesterday I managed to run a few appliances around the house on this 18-volt Dewalt battery, and I got a few more, as you know, from my channel. If you've seen a few of my videos, for my day job, I've got a load of Dewalt tools, and obviously with them I've got a range of Dewalt batteries, which has come in handy. Let me explain. A couple of weeks ago we get a text message from our local energy supplier, UK Power Networks or someone. They say the power in your area is going to be turned off from about 9 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon on a Saturday, because we're doing some planned maintenance work to some trees, and there's power lines near and they need to be safe, all the rest of it. Fantastic. So we got a fair warning. As usual, scrolling through Amazon, loads of suggestions come up, and this item came up and I thought that could come in useful. Let's take a look now at what I bought. So this is what you get in the box. Not a lot, actually. There's the inverter itself. A couple of little bits of paper saying you what you can and can't do and what the limits are. There's the inverter itself. It's got a long enough lead on it, really. And then we've got the place for you to plug something into, the on-off switch, and then a USB port there as well. And the battery slides on just as you would expect when you slide it onto one of your power tools. Now let's take a look at what actually happened when the power went off. So before the power went off, I actually wanted to see what wattage the actual boiler was pulling, because it's a 32 watt boiler, but that's gas wise. Electrically it actually takes very little electric, and there you can see it was pulling, max I saw off camera was 80, so it's very little. Okay, can you hear? UK Power Networks have turned our power off. Can you hear everyone's alarm going off? Right.
Hey guys!
Right, as you can see, boiler's dead, but it's in and on, and I've got my assistant to hold that. Right, focus on this. Okay, so my 18-volt battery, fully charged, luckily. That was a good bit of foresight. Off at the moment. Let's plug this into here. Oh, that's good. That is a good feature, actually. When that sits down like that, the plug actually goes in that way up, so you can still sit that on a flat surface. That is pretty useful. Right, okay. Let's turn it on. Oh, yes. Right, give us that a minute. I can hear the boiler coming back on. Oh, that's fantastic. So this should be well within the working range of this. This is 200 watt. As we saw earlier when I tested just to see what the boiler was pulling with our little energy monitor device, it was only up to 70, 80 watts. That's really cool. Did we keep it on the boiler all day? Let's have a look at that, shall we? Right, so it's a bit later, not too much later though, but we've come to the decision that physical comfort pales into insignificance when it comes to having internet, TV, and being able to upload videos to the internet. So I've got myself an extension lead here with TV, Fire Stick, and the Wi-Fi's, the mesh Wi-Fi, and the normal Wi-Fi, the router plugged into it. So let's plug it in, and hopefully, I think the TV takes about 100 at most, and the rest of it will take hardly anything, I would have thought. So let's plug that in. See what it says. A minute or so later, we've got the routers on. We've got the TVs back on, we've got internet. The inverter is making a bit of noise, but I shall report back a bit later to see if it's okay. So it's obviously working quite hard at the moment, but obviously he doesn't really care about that. So there we go. It wasn't clickbait. I managed to run a fair few appliances in my house. I say for a day, it was about 8 hours with this thing and some pre-charged batteries. So how long did the batteries last for? Well, I had two of these, and another battery pre-charged, ready to go. In the end, I used 2 of those and 1 of those in an 8-hour period. But there are some things I need you to take away from this. I already have the batteries. That's the first thing. So you wouldn't even consider one of these if you haven't got the batteries to start with, because it's going to be quite an expensive solution to a problem that you possibly don't have. It was £25 I bought it for. I think I've seen it as high as £28.99 and as low as about £21.99. Things to note about this before I get shouted at in the comments, and you'll probably shout at me anyway. This is sold as a modified sine wave inverter. What does that mean? This means that it's probably not ideal for things with pumps and motors and startup loads like the boiler. So it's okay for a bit, and this thing is only going to get you out of a hole for a couple of hours. That's all it's for. And I think for 20 odd quid, that's perfect. This is not some off-grid solution that we're going to be powering the house for weeks on and all the rest of it, because you've got to have the battery and you've got to charge the battery up beforehand. For the router and the TV, this worked out really well. And for the boiler, for a couple of hours, fine. If you're looking at a solution for something that's got a motor or a pump, like the boiler, then you're probably best off with an inverter that's pure sine wave, because that can cope with the startup loads and all the rest of it. Other little things that let me prepare for the power outage was, I've got this little device. This is slightly off topic, but I've got this a proper Dewalt one, rather than some snide copy off Amazon, with a couple of USBs in there. That was very useful. Gas works, but obviously we've got no clicker, but we can use a match for that. Final conclusions. This is a product I would have thought where all your stars need to align, as it were. You need to have the batteries beforehand because it's uneconomical to buy them just to be able to use this. But for that occasional use, you know, you go camping or you have a short power outage, it's got a plug on the back there, it's got a USB so you can charge your phone. It's great. I might even get another one so I can run a few more bits just in case, because they're cheap enough. As ever, let me know what you think about that in the comments. I will link that product in the description below, and I've just looked and they've now added not only Makita battery packs to that, but they'll also do an inverter that will take a Milwaukee battery as well, which is great. But that's it from the Dadskillz how-to and review channel today. So until the next time, goodbye.